to the Gamer's Tale. I'm joined again with Kieran, the cool kid. Did I say it right?
Cool Cud.
Cool Cud. Alright, I was actually asking about your name. Okay. Despite this being mildly slapped together for... it wasn't as researched as well as the previous podcast, so cut us some slack, maybe a little bit. We'll do a little bit of RPG news, and then Kieran and I will talk about some games we've been playing recently. They're mostly classic games, and we'll talk about some Star Wars games later. Word, that's with a Y, has released a one-shot adventure for the Through the Breach RPG, and they call it Honor Among Thieves. They refer to it as a Penny Dreadful adventure, which, if memory serves, that means it's a really short, kind of novel-esque, like a dime-back novel.
The word or the term originates from the 1800s, where you'd get stories that were like terrifying. They were horror stories that you got literally for, you guessed it, a penny.
Yes, I knew that somewhat, but not in the exact way that it was. I can only think of the show that they have, Penny Dreadful, where it's kind of similarly themed to the horror. They describe the adventure as you have to steal a widget, and it's your choice on how to get said widget. Either my analysis would be that it's either you can use brute force or you can go the scalpel approach and actually, sneak in and make sure no one knows that you aren't stealing the widget. It comes with 8, I think it was 8, pre-generated characters if you want to use those, or it comes with them at least. But I'm going to guess most people are not going to. I certainly don't want to. Okay, what else? McNab Games has a starter book for the fantasy game Morgulad. You can free download this at their site. It's the starter book. It's not the actual full rules and full game, but it comes with basic rules, 2 basic adventures, the starter adventures, and 8 pre-generated characters. You can also buy the full version at their website as well. They're trying to upsell you, which is a good classic marketing technique. You taste a little bit of what it is, and then when you're happy with it, you want more, you come back and you buy the whole thing. Palladium Books, Story Rift, has a new source book called Heroes of Humanity. It has new classes, new weapons, new equipment, new resources. And the new alliances are between something I didn't write clearly enough: the coalition states, Northern Gun, Mantiqua Imperium, Laszlo, New Laszlo. I don't know what the difference is between Laszlo and New Laszlo, so there's obviously some reason why they're different. To combat 2 demonic factions trying to overthrow the United States of America. And they ask that you please don't make any political references on the news site that I found that on. While scrolling through Facebook today, I saw a video ad for a new to me at least, Warhammer 40,000 video game, Inquisitor Martyr. And the artwork was rather impressive, as the lure of pre-game footage usually is, when you want to play the game more than you actually find out how much fun the game is. But then you'll learn that maybe it's not so great, but it's Warhammer. I'm game, if I can get it cheaply. Now, the most interesting thing I found on the news sites in the foray that I had earlier this morning, actually. HK Project. The purpose of it is you're a cat. It appears to be in third person, but you're a cat exploring Hong Kong. And it's probably a harrowing experience given food shortages in Asia, but it's intriguing because I always I always like adventures. Like exploring the city sounds like a really good time for me. And especially since I like cats, it's like, okay, what do they do when I'm not watching? Where do they go? What happens to them? My cat, it was 2 weeks ago. He came back home looking hungover. I called him. He didn't say anything. He just went to his little cubbyhole area outside and just went to sleep. It's like, okay, he apparently had some fun. Uh, Other than that, there's nothing really interesting that I put down for uh, the news. Or no,
I've got something.
Ooh, what do you got?
Okay, I only just remembered this now, but I remember reading a couple days ago that there was this awesome new horror game that's coming out on Steam. Now, I'm not usually the kind of guy that goes for a horror because most horror games suck.
True.
I like the Resident Evil series, but I still think it sucks as a horror game. I also think that Last of Us sucks as a horror game, but it's a fantastic game overall, and I did an entire review on it. And I still love that game to death, but it's not a great horror game. I think I've only found 2 games that I actually have found terrifying, and that's Alien Isolation and Clive Barker's Jericho. But Clive Barker's Jericho wasn't really as much as the terror, but more of like visual horror. Visual horror was what he did. But this one actually looks really interesting. It's called Scorn. I don't know who it's by.
Oh, I've seen ads for that, I think, a bit on Facebook.
Yeah, I read an article on it. It looks really, really fucked up, man. Like I watched the trailer. It was fantastic. You're based in this really, really weird organic, I guess, world. And in this organic world, it's a first-person shooter, but it's like it's more of Resident Evil as like you have to really judge when you're going to use your weapons and such, and when to do something, when not to do something. You got to be smart about your choices. And like even like the graphics themselves look so freaking fantastic, man. It looks terrifying. Like it gave me goosebumps. So
I remember one of the ads, I think, had like this weird, for lack of a better term, melting skeletal figure made out of gray something. I know that's really descriptive, but for me, it looked like a Mara warrior from Heroescape.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right. Other than that, is there anything else new? I've been watching Battlefield 1 videos a lot lately, and I gotta say, uh, I want a console rather badly to play this game. They have, early, more like the prototype weaponry. That really is intriguing. They have Maxim machine guns, several types of anti-air. The one I watched recently featured the anti-air gun with a large caliber uh, emplacement that works apparently pretty well both on people, light walls, and aircraft. Other than that,
That sounds pretty cool.
it does. It looks like it's probably 20 to 30 millimeter cannon. They also had a small howitzer that you can actually, that the guy commented, this artillery is actually in the place where you're more likely to use it and have it affect gameplay, unlike previous Battlefield renditions where the artillery was in some weird place and no one really thought to use it. What else was there? I'm hoping, I know I mentioned this probably last week, the melee weapons you can use in Battlefield 1. So far, they've only released the axe and the entrenching tool, which I'm personally hoping for trench knife, but that's just me. It seems what was it? Stone Mountain 64 was like, oh man, these are really brutal kills, and I'm just looking at the dude sinking an axe into a guy's chest. It's like, okay, this is what you do. This is not really as brutal as something like sticking it into their head, but to all his own. Other than that, I found out that I'm probably not going to be able to play my favorite RPG for a while, at least till I either get a new computer or a replacement graphics card. I've been talking with some guys who are more into PC gaming than I am, and from what they said, it's not my drivers that are creating such a low FPS. It's it's some other problem. So since my computer had a heating issue, it kind of melted a bit. Since this is an economy class laptop, probably I'm going to estimate that my graphics card is melted in part, not enough to be terrible. I can still play other non really, really in-depth games, or well, actually one game I'm going to be bringing up soon, but I can't play War Thunder, and that sucks because that's the one I usually love playing with my friend, which has caused me to begin playing more things on Ninja Kiwi, which I was also gotten into by the same friend who started me on War Thunder. That's fun, especially the one that he started me on, which was SAS4. You ever heard of SAS4, Kieran?
I can't say that I have.
You should check it out. I must say, it's a top-down game. Uh, apparently the basis for it is in the far distant future. People have populated other planets. We have stuff like space stations that are you can be on, and the entire SAS series is about zombie outbreak. And there's like various different types of zombies, but this one, the graphics are a little bit better, especially the gameplay, which actually has more of a story to it. I played some of the earlier SAS ones just to try them. SAS4, I must say, is a lot better than the previous iterations. They have a little bit more sci-fi style weaponry, but I like it is like probably an enormous arsenal, which you get to use and pick up, but eventually you'll have to like weed out the ones that you get because you don't have unlimited storage space in the staging area. But you can get some really powerful weapons. There's three classes you can be. You can be a gunner, which is the heavy trooper class. You can call in a bombardment on the area, stuff like that. You get more damage, or you can, depending on what you do, because I haven't actually really played much at all as the heavy. Stock still, and you can just shoot. You can start doing more damage depending on one of the skills you upgrade. The other one is, of course, a medic. And they can create this weird purple gas cloud that detoxifies zombies to death. But I have not played as that one either. I have been solely and wholly the assaulter class, where you can melee people with a combat knife doing pretty good damage, and call in a mobile squad to help assist you, and you get to modify weapons a lot more easily than the other classes. And so I'll tell you about I have two low-level weapons that I'll probably keep forever because they are so awesome. One was an LMG I had picked up. It was small. It doesn't light anyone on fire or anything fancy like some of the other ones do. But it was the first one I got that had 10 modification slots, or 10 levels of modification for 3 different slots. So eventually I pimped that thing out so that I had capacity, deadly, or that increased damage, and piercing, so I could go through multiple opponents. And I modded it it's so much of a mod that it does about 600, 700 damage per shot, which, given the levels I'm playing at now, is rather on the low side, especially with the waves and waves of opponents that you're hitting. Uh, but the original 120 round drum box, whatever, has now been tripled. So I can pretty much just stand there and hose my zombie opponents for a long, long time. And the ammunition, because you actually have to buy ammunition in this game, depending on what the weapon, is really cheap. I can get 120 rounds for 100 SAS cash, as they refer to it in game, compared to the sniper rifle that I have. That is, can do about 2,000 damage a shot, but it costs $1,200 for 60 rounds. Yeah, but it's worth it. It's oddly enough, most of the ones in there are quote unquote full auto sniper rifles, which I don't get at all in the concept of sniping, other than it sounds cool, but you can't actually snipe in this game because everything is a really small window, and you just kind of have to place the cursor at least on the PC in the general angle of the guy, and just kind of hold down and click the button in order to fire. Other than that, that's what I've been playing recently.
Well, I've been playing recently. I was just playing not 5 minutes ago with my friend Colton. There's this. I know these simulators up online are really crap, but this one I find is pretty funny because like you can really change this anyway. There's this Hunger Games simulator. Literally, if you look up Hunger Games simulator on Google, it's the first thing that shows up, and you can edit the people in the thing so that it can be your friends. So you can put up like your friend's Facebook profile picture and then put their name down there, and you pretty much like watch them fight to the death. Like no one does anything about it. It just generates different shit, which is sorry. And it's really really funny. With Colton and I, we're just goofing around on it, and he's doing this like official Facebook one, and it's really really funny because he's doing all of his friends, and like he just told me the results, and it's like, oh, okay, well I got pushed in a bowl of lava. And I also snuggled with one of my friends. Oh, and I buried a hatchet in one of my friends' faces and mauled somebody with a mace.
Well, got pretty damn far.
Oh no, like, and he's doing another one. It's oh, he just sent me this. Kieran rips a mace out of Colton's hands. Wow, fuck you. Oh, we're just having so much fun, and then my friend Colin, we just pushed him into a bowl of lava, and we're just making all sorts of musical jokes about him because he's a really musical dude. So it's like, oh, now he'll be able to hit that high C note that he's always wanted to. He'll be a little off key though. So it's just really fun to do with your friends and such. Like it can be really entertaining. You could even have your entire family pit up against each other.
Oh wow, you're making me want to play this.
Oh no! The best thing is one of my exes and my best friend Colin. There was one part because Colin was on apparently he was on a rampage, and Colin doesn't like Kira in real life. And the greatest thing is, one of the results was Colin strangles Kira with a rope. I was just dying laughing. The first time I died, it was because I apparently wandered out of the place. I wandered out of the arena. It's really fun. Like we're just giggling at the results and such because, just like I was asking him, what are my activities? Oh, you slept with Tyler. Oh, okay.
This is getting awkward quickly.
Oh, but it's fun. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's tons of stuff that can happen, and it's great.
Oh, it sounds really intriguing, I must admit, because I always like the what would happen kind of scenarios, and if it's just like random stuff, kind of like Plague Incorporated, even though I haven't played that game, that sounds like a really fun game. It's like it's just generated, and you see what comes out. It's like, okay, we're going through. There's probably thousands of different permutations of a single action, but what are the consequences of each one of them? Like,
there's just a lot that goes on. So.
okay. Yeah, let's go with that. Over the 4th of July, my brother and I did what we normally do on special days, at least national holidays, which was we played old PlayStation 2 games, and we decided to try to conquer the galaxy in Battlefront 2. Yeah, and my brother and I are decently good at this game. We can get in on a space mission. We can get into completely cripple and win a space encounter in 5 minutes.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to Battlefront 2, I'm not great at the shooting part, but space battles I literally have down to a fine point. Where when I was just playing Conquest, I had it down to such an like awesome system where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and this, and it's done in 10 minutes. It's done in 10 minutes.
That's only for certain maps for my brother and I. We can usually conquer Moss Eisley in less than 10 minutes. I forget. But if it's Assault, which is when they have the heroes and villains fight it out, that's at least, if we're on the same side, that takes about 15 minutes to 18 minutes. And if we're on different sides, which he hates doing, but yet it still finds it really fun to mess with him, and he messes with me all the time with it, that takes about a half hour. Which, now that I think about it, that we have all this stuff down to time limits, makes it sound like we maybe play that game a little too much.
Actually, it was just my first try.
Anyway, what was it? If you hear me crying out for the blood of Jawas, I'm probably playing Battlefront 2. Because in Mos Eisley there's Hunt, and you can be Tusken Raiders versus Jawas. And in that game, Jawas are complete jerks.
Yes, they are. They are indeed. I hate those little bastards.
Yeah, that's why I always play as the Tusken Raider in that one, and I enjoy one-shotting them in the head every single time because it. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna make an imitation of Tusken Raider every time I do one. Like when I play Battlefront, I'm fighting against, I'd always make the thing like.
Interestingly enough, in Star Wars, the club that the Tusken Raiders use, and also I think when they knock over Luke in the first movie, that's a Maori war club from the Philippines.
No kidding.
In style and design, there's a lot of Maori. I was looking at a video on traditional Filipino weapons and Indonesian weapons, and one of those ones was this weird-looking thing that looked like an acorn with a spike coming out of it with a loopy handle. And it's like, oh my goodness. I look over here at Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which my brother plays, and one of the Tusken Raiders has this club and looks exactly the same. It's like they stole another thing from real life, and they snuck it in there. I'm both not surprised, and yet surprised at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, to be me, is a weird dichotomy of things. Yeah. What else? Oh, yes. The reason why Jawas are complete jerks in Battlefront 2. My brother hates them because when they're the neutral faction that runs around messing with stuff between the two different sides in Conquest, they will fix turrets, and my brother hates turrets. He will destroy turrets because he hates when people get into them. And then if he sees a Jawa starting to fix a turret, he will shoot the Jawa. Me, I hate the Jawas because when you're in Hunt, they have a spread weapon that chains between stuff. They will literally stand behind their friends and fire full blast at you through their friends, killing 2 to 3 of themselves if you don't kill them first, and that's just a really jerk move. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
no, that's not cool. I mean, I take out Tuskens every so often. That's because the idiots go in front of me while I'm shooting, or they go left or right at the exact time I release a bolt, and they're so low on health from fighting the Jawas that it grazes their thigh, and they fall over dead.
Oh wow.
It's like that's unintentional, but from my perspective, it seems like the Jawas are completely intentional in committing genocide on not only the Tusken Raiders, but on themselves as well. Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
it is, and we've also found that it's easier to be the Jawas in Mos Eisley than it is to be the Tusken Raiders to go against the clock. But it's much more satisfying to be the Tusken Raiders. On Kashyyyk, it's easier to be the droids than the Wookiees.
I still like being the Wookiees because Wookiees are cooler.
Yeah, Wookiees are cool. What else is there? It's easier to survive Hoth. Excuse me. But it's easier to take people out as the Wampas.
Wampa! I didn't know you could be a Wampa on Battlefront.
Yeah, in Battlefront 2 on Hoth in Hunt, you can be a Wampa or you can be one of the Rebel Alliance.
Whoa! Well, like on the PlayStation 2?
On the PlayStation 2.
Get out!
No. Yes.
Okay, I'm looking this up.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm suffering from a withdrawal on this vacation here. Because we don't have a PlayStation here. We don't have any game system here. So I'm suffering withdrawal. I look like a crack addict here, man. Just scratching at my veins and everything.
Well, I'm sure you can check out Ninja Kiwi. You can sign in with Facebook and with your email and stuff like that, and you can start playing some decent games at least to curb the urge.
I'll find something. Like I'm just having fun with the Hunger Games simulator here.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
Yeah, well, I just added my girlfriend in there, and apparently she mauled me. No. I read that wrong. No, Colin mauled me last game. No, Liz shot me in the knee.
Ow.
Which is perfect because she's a Skyrim fan.
Haha. That phrase "took an arrow to the knee" has been around for a long time, but even before Skyrim. I think it's
it just means to get hitched.
What?
Yeah, it means to get hitched. Well, in Skyrim it does.
Oh,
when everyone says like I used to be an adventurer like you, why all the guards freaking say that? I don't think they all got freaking arrows to the knee. No, it actually means it's a Nordic slang for getting hitched.
Ah, okay. I was just thinking that it's also mentioned in Uncharted. It was even mentioned in one of my favorite TV shows, but I think it's a reference to Monty Python, one of the Monty Python movies.
Maybe. I haven't seen the Monty Python movies yet.
Neither have I. I don't plan on it.
Neither have I.
Yeah. Anyway, what else is there? We were going to talk about Star Wars games, and we kind of did that with Battlefront 2. But
yeah. Well, here. Let's have a little debate here. Which Battlefront do you think is better? There's the original Battlefront, Battlefront 2, and the new crap.
I have not played the new one, so I will only talk about the two that I have actually played. I would say both have their strong suits. The first one, it was easier to be it was easier to choose your classes because all of them were unlocked. You didn't have to unlock them with points during the battle. I like the fact that you could have vehicles. I would run people over with speeder bikes on the slightest provocation and rain death from above with X-Wings on Naboo. I liked Battlefront 1 because you could play as a B-1 battle droid on the mission with the Gungans, despite Gungans being completely annoying. Or at least Jar Jar being completely annoying. I liked the Theed Palace because it was during the day and I could actually see what the heck was going on. And there's a lot of great sniper spots in there. I missed the Renvar maps. I missed the fact that they had the 2 different maps for each planet, and Renvar was pretty cool. No pun intended, because it is an ice planet.
Yeah, yeah.
The vehicles were a little bit different. They had the ATTE had 4 forward-facing cannons that could just blow the hell out of everything, and 2 rear-facing cannons of the same power, and a moderately capable cannon on the top. The Hellfire tanks were a lot easier and a lot better than in the second one, because you could actually aim the rockets and they would like home in on the target that you had done. Now in Battlefront 2, the rockets just go everywhere. You have literally no control over where they go.
Well,
Yeah. The 2 Geonosis maps are fun. That's a lot different, and they were a lot more arid looking than the single Geonosis one that they have in Battlefront 2. The Geonosian fighters were fun to fly around in, and it was also fun to fly the Lardies really well. But there was also some fun on the Wookiee homeworld. That one was insane with the little village that you had to go through. I've probably drowned several droids in that river unintentionally.
well, for me, it's like I think I like Battlefront 2 better than the original Battlefront, but I still think that the original Battlefront's feature of destroying a planet was just so fucking awesome. No other way to put it, because like the planets on Battlefront sometimes were a total pain, and I hated them, so I just loved blowing them up.
I forgot you could blow them up. I just remember that I hated going to, I forget whether it was
I
Bespin
hate
or
Kashyyyk.
Geonosis.
I
What?
hated Kashyyyk. So I always blew it up.
I think the one I blew up probably was, maybe it was Hoth. Hoth is roughly the same.
I like Hoth.
I think Hoth is roughly the same on both of them. I don't remember that, but I should post that up on Facebook, because I took a picture of one of my scores on Battlefront 2. They give you certain medals when you achieve certain things, and on the Independence Day, I had achieved 666 pistol medals for taking out, I think it's 4 to 8 people with a pistol during your lifetime before you die and respawn.
Yeah.
That was fun. My brother and I have achieved legendary in almost all the skills, except for me, because I still think I'm lacking on technician.
That's not bad.
The hardest one to get, I think, is demolition. That one was a pain. Especially what?
Oh no, go ahead.
Especially since the only place I could actually get to farm critical hits was Hoth, and to shoot the neck of the AT-ATs. Yeah, that was the only place to get consistent critical hits. And Hoth is a pain in the butt, especially when you have to be the rebels standing underneath an Imperial walker trying to shoot it, but not actually kill it.
Yeah.
Well, it spawns men to come hate your guts.
Yes, pretty much.
Battlefield.
Well, no, go ahead. I keep doing that.
Battlefront 2. I like the fact that you can run. Otherwise, I would have stayed as the jetpack trooper like I did in all the other ones. The shotguns were different in Battlefront 1. I miss the engineers having like pistols, including a secondary weapon and various other tools. The rad launcher for the which one was it? It was the mortar launcher for the Empire, shotgun for the pilots of the Rebellion, rad launcher for the droids, and the arc launcher for the clone troopers. I miss that. Having the sidearm was so handy compared to just the shotgun that they have in Battlefront 2. But it was also, it varied it up, and I also really like the look of Phase 1 Clone Trooper armor. And while Phase 2 was technically better, I miss the lines of Phase 1 and the different colors and all that awesome stuff. Anyway, I think I've talked long enough. What is your analysis of Kieran?
Of which one?
Either one. Let's start at the beginning.
Okay. Battlefront 1. I don't like the campaign. The AI are okay. I'll keep it PG. They're not nice. I was gonna use a certain word that would be a synonym to harlot, but they're just a pain in the butt. They are, and I hated them, and I can remember constantly throwing the controller across the room because they were such a pain. And okay, what else? Conquest I liked because the Walker, because I'm always an Imperial. So I liked the Walker, and I liked the Death Star, how you could literally blow up an entire planet and not have to deal with it. That's just too much fun. What else? Yeah, I don't know what else to say about the original Battlefront. Battlefront 2, I liked the Jedi bit and the space battles, because space battles were easy. But were, at least in my opinion. And then, like, the hero battles, like, I'm not great at them, but they're still fun. They're really fun. The one thing I hate about the Battlefront 2 is the last mission on the campaign, because to this day I still can't beat it because it's such a pain.
Which one was that? Is that the one where you have to defeat the rebels?
Yeah, Hoth. Frick, I hated that one. I hated it so much.
The one I hated was Felucia. That was a pain in the ass. Literally, it was with the Acclays having to defend the ATTE. You have to destroy these giant crab-like bugs that have probably the health of a tank, and they come out of nowhere, and you have, especially when I was first doing it, because it was like, I have no idea how to kill these things. How does this get here? What am I doing? And they just cut through you. You could barely see through all the pollen that gets kicked up. I used to hate the Felucia map. I do like that they added it though, because that's a really kind of cool place, especially when you go through it for like Force Unleashed, which we should get into after this.
Yeah. Well, like I'll just finish off my little bit with how I feel about the new one. Okay, it's known very well. I hate Disney for what they've done to Star Wars, but I'm just gonna let it slide because I'll try to be nicer and such for all that. I haven't seen the full sequel trilogy that they've gotten yet, so I'll give it a chance. It only last a couple of years, and then I'll just lose it. Oh, sorry, I'm just yawning here. But I don't like the new one because it doesn't have Conquest, which is the main thing. All it is Call of Duty. You have the online. You have you have a couple Spec Ops missions that are cool, but that's about it. So it's just turned into COD, which I didn't really like. So
yeah, it seems like all the new games, except for Battlefield, have been doing a kind of a rotation thing. I haven't played any of the new Medal of Honor ones. That series just kind of died back in 2012 or earlier with the two new Medal of Honor because no one took it up like COD.
Yeah.
But COD, I played Modern Warfare 2 in PvP and I played Black Ops 2 in PvP. And a little bit, I think, in Modern Warfare 3. I liked Modern Warfare 2. I did. It was fun. But when they took away in 3 and Black Ops, when they took away my throwing knives, for some reason that irritated me a lot and replaced it with this chintzy tomahawk. But they have apparently been swapping out all their stuff to be more like Halo. And
Yeah.
Halo's just been Halo, which I like Halo. Halo's fun. I enjoyed playing Halo 3, and I haven't played any of the newer ones, but Halo's kind of always just been there. They've kind of remained true to themselves, at least in that respect, longer lasting than Medal of Honor. But COD became a lot. Several of my friends refer to it as Halo Light, and I don't like the brash, really neon colors of the combat armor and stuff like that. That sickens me a lot
Yeah.
because I like my stuff to be uh, either dark or realistically shiny or just like a matte color so you can't see me coming, or it's just like this thing, you can tell that this thing is here to be used to work on people. It's not the fancy uh, gold plated. uh, I literally said this when I was gaming with one of my cousins. I had picked up the M16. I had an M16 loadout for my one in Modern Warfare. No, I think it was the original Black Ops. And I set it up really simple, RDS, stuff like that. And he sets up with like this AK or this rifle, and it's got gold plating. And he says, "Isn't that cool?" I literally turned to him and said, "Tacky, worthless, and not useful at all," and went back to playing.
Oh my god.
I I do not like the over the top paint schemes. I want something that's
Yeah.
going to be serving as camouflage. One,
I don't
uh,
even like the paints at all. Like I like my guns looking like the guns that are in real life. I'm sorry, but I play these games for the realistic military simulation kind of crap, which is why I like Battlefield more than Call of Duty nowadays. I mean, I liked the World War II Call of Duty phase. I liked that, but
that
now
one
they're
was
out of
fun.
that. Like I tolerated Modern Warfare because Modern Warfare was pretty fun, but after that, I had enough.
Yeah, that reminds me of my brother and the cousin I usually played Modern Warfare 2 with. We would just go to Rust, and there'd just be 3 dudes stacking bodies on Rust. It was so much fun. I had played. What was that? It's been a while. It's been years since this has happened. But 2 of my friends and my cousin and my brother and I played Halo, or a um, 5-man mission of Halo, and we played in places like Sandtrap and stuff like that. You know what? Next week we should have war stories of some of our favorite uh, in-game shenanigans, because I got a lot from that one part of my life. So
Dude,
that was
just Dark Souls, it would be endless. Like we could have an entire episode on my Dark Souls shenanigans.
okay.
Oh god, that would be ridiculous. Actually, we could even go on like an entire rant about some of the crazy glitches we've even gone through. Because I still remember when my Force Unleashed game, literally the entire maps were flipped. Now I'm not sure you understand what I mean by that, and I'll explain. In my Force Unleashed save one time, it glitched to the point where, you know how you'd have the normal maps where you turn right on one way,
Hmm.
you'd go left.
Wow, that's
Like it was all the
weird.
opposite. So literally, the Death Star was the biggest pain in the butt because I had problem traveling through that place as it was, and then the entire place got flipped. So now I just kind of, because I've done it flip side and everywhere. I can literally say now for Force Unleashed, I have more appreciation for the map.
Uh,
I just don't have appreciation of the bug fixing team.
I I got stuff a lot longer. The only bug that I experienced with Force Unleashed, because I bought most of my games, or my brother and I bought most of our games a lot secondhand after this PS2 started to decline because they got cheaper than the other ones. Uh, was that it would go to the loading screen. It would have the you're in hyperspace thing, and it would just sit there, and you could get
Oh,
into the game. And it's like, okay, this one is obviously busted. Can I get a replacement? Yes. It's like, okay, good, because this sucks like nobody's business.
well, with me, I bought the first version of The Force Unleashed, and I hadn't hooked up my PlayStation to the network until I don't know how long ago. Maybe like 3 years ago was the first time that we hooked it up for updates and such. But
Those are things.
yeah, apparently updates for PlayStation 3 and such. So I was
Oh,
playing. I was playing for the PlayStation 3. I had so many problems with the original version until I got the Ultimate Sith Edition. But that, like I said, that was with the original version, and there was no updates for it. So I just played the plain out thing. So some of the problems I had, there was literally this glitch, and I'm sad that it's gone now because I had to delete the save data because it's on my old PlayStation 3. Got a new one. But the problem, I literally got into this glitch to this save, where I was invincible and my health could never be brought down unless I jumped off a cliff, and my force was always unlimited, always, and literally the experience bar was all the way across the screen. Like you know how like there's that blue bar in the experience, and it kind of just goes into the end of the gauge. Literally, it went so far, it literally was on the other side of the frickin' screen.
I've only played the
So it
PlayStation.
never died.
I only played the PlayStation 2 version, which probably explains why I didn't have to deal with all these bugs and crap.
No, it's like PlayStation 3 is more forgivable because you can update it later.
Eh, yeah, well, my old PS2 Slim, it works, but I have to set a jar on top of it in order to get the thing to spin.
Yeah, like it's my PlayStation 2 is kind of coming around to that time because I got a Slim too. But that's the pain about PlayStation 2, isn't it? With the updates and such. Literally, if you screw up making the game and there's a glitch in there, you're screwed. It's staying in there forever. Like I play Legacy of Kain Defiance and all the time, and I'm always playing. And there's a bunch of glitches where I go through walls and such, or I go through parts where I shouldn't be at yet because I haven't progressed farther, and I don't know any better because this is the first time I'm playing through. So literally, like I'm always thinking, oh, I hope they update. Oh wait, no, they can't update the PlayStation 2. It's a nutcase.
Uh, I think you were talking about something about Charmander before, and a friend of mine just said he like no one liked the game, and he made his own Charmander in it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like okay. I'm not into Pokemon at all.
Neither am I. Well, I guess we can tell the viewers that funny story I told you earlier about my girlfriend.
It's your life.
Okay, so before we started the show, I was just talking to my girlfriend, and we're getting back together and such because we'd split for a while, but we're back together now, and we were just laughing around, and she wanted me to ask her out properly. So so I was like, Liz, I choose you, and I said, Charizard pokes out wrong Pokeball. Give me a second, and she's like, really, you chose Charizard? What? Out of all the 800 freaking Pokemon you could have chosen, you chose Charizard. I didn't play Pokemon as a kid. That wasn't my thing. So we
Yeah.
were just joking around. She got really mad at me because I screwed up the Pokemon and such because Pokemon wasn't my thing. I was a Star Wars Spider-Man kid. I loved Spider-Man and I loved Star Wars, and that's as far as it went. I didn't watch the Pokemon shows as much as I did the other stuff. Like I watched Bakugan, but that was it.
Oh man, I haven't heard that name in years. Was that? I watched like I used to get up really when I was real young. I used to get up early to watch Digimon at 6.
Yeah, you grew up with that generation with the Digimon. I'm unlucky. I didn't get that. Like I watched the movie, but that's it.
There's a movie. I didn't really watch it a lot. It was weird in its Japanese way, and I wasn't
Yeah,
used to that yet.
yeah.
Then there's also there's I think it was like called Stardust. I kind of want to watch it again. It was about this girl wants to reconnect with her estranged father who doesn't know he has a daughter, and she's a good mechanic and pilot, and these alien races have now wanted uh, the Earth to represent them in this intergalactic race, where it's like if you lose, we destroy your planet, kind of thing. So we have to front up, or we have to either that, or it's not destroy your planet, but you gain ranking within alien society. But most likely, it will end in the destruction of the planet. But when she goes to talk to him, he and his people are manufacturing the, for lack of a better term, the race car that we're going to be submitting for the race, and he's looking for um, someone to pilot it. And she says, "Oh, I'm a pilot." She changes her name on the fly, and this random, I think he was a lieutenant from the military, and the crew of the crew who services the spaceship and her father go into like nether space or something and compete in this race for either the betterment of mankind or the continuation of mankind. And I could not, for the life of me, remember the actual name for this series to look it up and see if it's online. But I would love to see it because it was so intriguing. That was wow. That was a long time ago.
Well, I bet. And then there's like young people like me.
It's funny because it's like there's only 5 years separating us.
No, you're what? 22?
I'm I'm gonna be turning 21 this year.
Oh, well, that's not bad. Like I just turned 15, so.
Okay, so it's about 6 years difference. So, what do you think that would not have too much of a difference in the cultures? Or
I,
much?
I I'd say there's a big difference between our generations because I have a sister that literally is, as I said, 20. So, like, I understand the differences between the generation because I actually have to look at one every day to see the difference between what she grew up with and what I grew up with. Because she said different things than I did, and she still says different things than I do. I mean, we still have different views and such, but of course, like siblings always have that sort of thing. But just even the way, like the people we grew up with, because we're very much alike, like a lot more alike than usual siblings are, and like right up to twins. But Shay and I are that close, and there's also that difference between the generation and such because she says different stuff, hangs out with different people than I would, but even then some of her friends are my friends to this day, and like a lot of her friends are actually my best buds now.
I got you beat on that one. My brother is 10 years older than me, so he grew up in the 80s with all that weird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, and I grew up on that.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the shit.
Yes, I will
It
agree with
was.
you on that one.
I hate the new stuff. I hate the new stuff. Hate what Michael Bay has done. I hate Megan Fox as Courtney, or whatever her face is. And you know what? Raph is cooler than all the others. My case is rested. I'm done. Your Honor.
I like the 2000. I think it's either the 2003 or the 2006 cartoon rendition
Yeah,
of
that was okay. I watched that one. That was funny.
that one. The one did they have pupils or did they have no pupils?
I don't remember. I just remembered the Jim Henson puppet version.
Oh yeah, that one. The actual movie.
Yeah,
It,
I liked that. I didn't like the second or the third, but the first one definitely.
it was on recently. I must admit, it was pretty funny, and I did like Casey Jones.
Yes, Casey Jones was awesome.
Anyway, there was a 2003, I think, series, and it was really in depth and it was really awesome. They had a lot of underground stuff, and they like traveled through space and things, but it was like it was gritty. It wasn't. It was kid friendly, but you could sense there was a bit of. You could both be like me and be in my mid 20s or early 30s, and I could still watch that, and it would be enjoyable. It had action, it had plot. I looked at the most recent incarnation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's got the weird like those toys for toddlers where they have
Yeah.
exceedingly large hands and exceedingly large feet.
Well, see, this is the way that the way TV shows were then and now it's a lot different because back in the day, it was enjoyable for the whole frickin' family if it was for the kids because there's always those adult jokes in there that were sprinkled in there, so the adults wouldn't have to be watching something crap.
Yeah.
Or nowadays, it's just all kid stuff, all kid material. I mean, some movie references that you might get as an older person, but it's not like, oh, ha ha ha, I get that sexual reference, you dirty
Well,
bastards.
that's why I like. Well, that's actually more prevalent than you would think, but it's more undertoned. But that's why I like Phineas and Ferb because they have. It's made for everyone, and they have a lot of stuff that other people wouldn't understand. Like one of the band names in Phineas and Ferb is the guy's Doofenshmirtz's favorite band was called Love Handle.
Oh my god. I'm
Yes.
done. I'm done.
I watched that show specifically to see Perry the Platypus versus Dr. Doofenshmirtz because their interactions are completely awesome. And the whole Awooga organization is just hilarious. But I think we're getting off of the games. Where were we?
Oh, wait. Before we get off the thing, I would just have a closing statement about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is a little bit of a spoiler alert for those who don't read the comics, but I'd like for you to grieve with me as we cry about Donatello's death.
What? I didn't know he died.
I didn't read the comics myself, but I do know that he died because I watched Inner Space, which it's this sci-fi show. It's not a sci-fi show. It's a sci-fi news show that's based out in Toronto, and it's
So
really
something
really
like
good.
this, only with comics.
Huh?
So something like this, only with comics.
Well, like he got crushed. I think the Rhino dude crushed him.
Oh, because I literally of the original like 1980s comics. It's lying around here somewhere. We only have the original like 20-page book, and it's just like the first 1 to 2 episodes within the comics uh, realm, and so that's all I know about it. Or it's like it's the first story where they banish Krang to whatever planet he came from. Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry. Like I had to text my mom
Yeah.
because on a vacation. Oh, how's my baby doing? Like you
I'm still
understand.
alive. It's
Like
still.
you're only 5 years older. You understand this pain.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, most of my vacations have not has been with where she's there or within 20 minutes of it. So it's like okay, but even then, it's like we pretty much spend a lot of our time around. I spend a lot of time with my parents still, and we like see each other every day and interact every day. And then when we finally go to someplace new, like on vacation every so, and I start spending some time with people other my age and some people I haven't seen in like a year or so. She's like, "So when are you guys gonna hang out with us?" It's like I hang out with you almost every week, or absolutely every week, and it's this pretty much the same routine every week. So Ken, I'm doing other things. And I'll say hi and I'll hang out with you, but it won't be to the same extent as what we normal because this is vacation.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I'm just gonna go off the vacation plot here. I'm gonna go back to our games thing, but I'm also gonna keep on the mom track. It's funny. Like I'm just gonna do a little appreciation here and a little shout out to my mom. Um, like, here. I just want to ask you, who was the first one that got you into video games?
My brother.
My mother.
Wow.
Yeah, because actually, her addiction to video games, like she was a gamer long before me, and she was a gamer long before this, but this is where she started the collection because she's a collector. It all started in 1996 when she sat down with my Uncle Mike and they played Diablo for the entire weekend, the original Diablo, and beat it from end to end with all classes, beat all the quests, finished all the maps, did everything to the top in one weekend. And it was then that my mom became the ultimate game collector and gamer, and then she turned me into that because she introduced me into all these cool games. She introduced me to Baldur's Gate and Champions and Skyrim, and then I kind of started off on my own. I got into shooters, but I'm still very close to the RPG fantasy stuff that Mom and I play together to this day. Mom and I still play Diablo 3 together. Where everyone was getting drunk on New Year's Eve, Mom and I were screaming at each other, wondering who would get the loot from the latest boss drop. Yes, Mom and I have a very, very special relationship because instead of, just like, oh, Mom, I don't want to talk about relationships with you, Mom and I talk about literally everything. We even talk about, like, stuff that people wouldn't be, like, talkative about with their moms. So it'd be like, just, all right, I'm going to give you an example of a conversation between me and her, and it's going to go a little off the PG rating. So, but I think you're going to enjoy this. Okay. So it's obvious. Okay, this is really going off the PG rating. It's very obvious that as a male teenager, and you're familiar with this too, and you don't really are into sexual activity, you wank. This is a given. So literally, Mom and I talk about this. And there was this one conversation between me and her, and we're not awkward about this. We don't find this awkward. We're literally, I was in the middle of school, and she was like, "Oh, so I found your Playboys today." Shit. And she was like, so I duct taped my face to each and every one of them. Yeah. Thankfully, she didn't because she's a good mother.
My mom's entirely different. It's like. Going back to the games and stuff. That's my brother got me into it. I started on the beige brick of the Game Boy, and it would be that when we get new games, like they had to pass inspection before they get. So pretty much, I have no mature games whatsoever, despite my love of playing Call of Duty and Halo, just because I like the realism and there's blood spray everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like it's funny. It's like, okay, are there sexual themes in it? No, unless it's something lyrical, like for Guitar Hero, for being rated for lyrics. Is there blood in it? Yeah, fine. Is there swearing in it? Yeah, fine. Are there sexual themes? No, that is not fine. So you can sing as many loud songs as you want. You can stack as many bodies as you want. You can wade through pools of blood, but you cannot have any hookers hanging around.
Yeah, that's the difference between you and me. Literally, Mom will watch the sex scene in Far Cry 3 with me, and she'll just be like, "Oh, that chick's got nice tits," because my mom's cool. Because like she'll joke around with this stuff. Literally, like it gets to the point where it's like you and your mother, and then there's me and my mother who literally sit down and watch Game of Thrones together. And if you know the stuff that goes on in Game of Thrones, you know that that's just weird.
Yeah,
but it's cool because like Mom and I aren't awkward about this. Usually, Mom and son are awkward about that, so it's a cool relationship between me and my mom.
You're twanging terribly. I can't hear you at all.
Did you get the first bit though?
Nope.
I literally watched Game of Thrones with my mother.
No, I can't hear you. It's totally scrambled.
I watched Game of Thrones with my mother.
It sounded like you asked if I was in the bathroom, so I'm going to say no. I'm not in the bathroom.
Can you hear me now?
No, barely.
How about now?
No, not now. So I'm going to go on a 5-hour monologue until you're able to hear us.
Okay. Hold on.
As we sit here waiting. Well, most of the time, I'll continue without him. I hope he'll understand. Uh, you don't watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch Game of Thrones. We pretty much avoid that stuff like the plague. I do. I'm really open with my mom about stuff, but it's not to the degree of openness at which Kieran is, and that's kind of weird. It's a different dynamic here. Not only
It's
is
not
it
weird.
twangy.
Sorry.
Uh,
I'll just text you the stuff.
yeah, we don't. We avoid that as well.
No, 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 no. I will text you the words I say.
Okay, I can. We can hear you now clearly.
Okay. Thank God.
I know, right?
What I said was I watched Game of Thrones with my mom.
Yes,
Okay, you did hear that.
we did hear that. After that, it was really buggy.
Sorry.
But anyway, yeah. So the differences between your family and mine is really evident in that you do and watch all this stuff, which is really kind of weird. But for it's almost not the exact opposite. We watch a lot of stuff together, but we don't watch that kind of things. I have trouble watching with my family like really awkward sitcoms and stuff. Like if someone's acting like a total idiot, I will literally get up and walk out of the room because I cannot handle it. But that's just another difference. So while you watch Game of Thrones with your mom, we're watching and all right. This is the philosophical household that I live in. We will have long, in-depth discussions about the whys and the whats of the universe, and we'll do it like it's normal and like it's every day and average, because we do that every day. We don't watch Game of Thrones. If when you're watching Game of Thrones, we'll probably be discussing the latest political analysis or something like that. So when I tell people I am a monk, that's because I spent most of my life in study, away from a lot of the TV, the drinking, and all that other stuff, and that's how it was. Yeah. So when I say a weird dichotomy, it is quite an odd dichotomy.
Alright, well, we have gotten off the subject and such. Also, I think we've gone a little bit over time now.
We have. So we'll wrap up. Kieran, tell us where you can be found and stalked.
Okay, you got twangy what?
I said, Kieran, tell us where you can be found and
Okay,
stalked.
I can hear you now. You can find me up on YouTube as the Cool Cuds Play. That's COOLKUDS Play. You can have fun with that, though I know you won't. You can find me up at the Ultimate Sith Empire up on Facebook, or as the Legends Kid on the Galactic Roundtable.
All right, you can find me, if that's all Kieran has to say, you can find me on my personal blog page on Facebook, which is The Irreverent Gentleman. Not the irreverent, or not the irrelevant gentleman like my friend misread it. You can find me on Diary of a...
Wow.
Yeah, I know, that was fun. You can find me on Diary of a Sith Chick as Atten Gorn, and also on DSC Jedi Archive and Fet's Locker. You can also find me every other Thursday on uh, Dear Diary, which is the other podcast that Diary of a Sith Chick does. You can find me on WordPress at the Gentleman's University of Manliness.wordpress.com. We got some good info there. We'll eventually, hopefully in the near future, we'll be having some paid uh, content for courses. Going to be trying to get that up soon, starting off in uh, youth groups, local youth groups where I live. or at least in the state that I live. And you can also, I haven't actually checked the email for this podcast in like after I set it up. So you can't contact us there. You can contact us on The Gamer's Tale, which is on Facebook. You should do that, like it. It's been a little dead lately, but you can get the live links here, and you can also find me on Twitter at Gent de Irreverent, no T on the end, because Irreverent Gentleman was already taken. You can usually find me underneath that tag in most places. Unless it's a game, then you can find me under Beskar Hawk, but you most likely will not because I don't play a lot of online games. And with that, we will stop this broadcast and we'll roll out with the credits.